Next, we're going to talk to Gnorp, he, him, calling from Connecticut. And it sounds like Gnorp is an atheist who's having some issues with anhedonia. Jason, you'll be familiar with this term. Losing the ability to enjoy creative pursuits, psychedelics, and the value of traditions. Gnorp, you are live on Truth Wanted. What do you got for us today?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's anhedonia per se, because I really enjoy, I've moved. It's interesting that you said something along the lines of you're not going to lose anything if you learn to think critically. So I'm kind of become more aware of epistemology and become an agnostic atheist over time. And at the same time, I've become like a lot more involved in STEM stuff. I used to be a musician and like an artist and all that stuff, and I still kind of do that. But I got this new job doing coding and like engineering and all that kind of thing, and it's amazing. But yeah, I think very like rationally now, and I feel like my ability to that part of my identity or my ability to enjoy kind of the art and art creation stuff, fantasy, the traditions of religion or valuing them, and like also psychedelics have all kind of they're going away, or pretty much they're kind of gone for the time being. And I'm wondering about that from your perspective. I know Jason might in particular have some thoughts on that.
Can I ask how long it's been since you started your deconstruction?
Oh, probably 10 years. Or I guess I've always kind of been agnostic-ish, but I was more of a kind of outsider spiritualist, I guess.
And why is the religious stuff still like why does it need to be valuable? Like why do you need, like why can't like getting into cars or working on motorcycles or learning how to weld become another thing that you value? Like why hold on to something that's obviously already mentally kind of shedding itself off? Like is it grief that you're feeling, like you're grieving the joy, or what's your body telling you?
I don't know. I guess two things. I guess I don't think I've ever really been like fully in a religion. I'm kind of jealous of that on some level, because a lot of people kind of grow up with that and have had that. And then on the other side of things, I don't know. I think I do really enjoy all these new things, and I don't feel like I'm not able to enjoy them. But I just want to be able to kind of flip into that and kind of not. I feel like I'm just constantly hyper rational or something like that, and I'd like to be able to kind of be a little looser sometimes with and enjoy that kind of weird stuff people seem to think. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. MD, what do you got, man? I feel like you got something to say.
Well, I've been just looking. What I understand the feeling that you're describing, Gnorp. And like people say this all the time. You sort of have lost the magic, right? You've lost the sense of wonder and magic now that you sort of are thinking about things more closely. Is that sort of what you're getting?
I don't know. I find a lot of wonder and magic in these other things. It's just different, and maybe not. Maybe a little more clinical or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, what I was trying to find in the background, Carl Sagan has an interview, and I was trying to find a good quote, but I'll just have to paraphrase. He talks about a friend of his who is an artist who says that, oh, I hate these scientists. They always try to explain everything. They try to explain the beauty of a flower, and it completely ruins the beauty, the romanticism of it. Mm-hmm. And Sagan's response is that I can still appreciate the flower for its outward appearance, for its aesthetics, But I have, in fact, a deeper appreciation of the beauty of that flower because I also understand the scientific processes underlying the metabolic, processes that drive it, the photosynthesis, why the flower has evolved the way it has, the interactions between the flower species and its local insect population over the course of millennia, all of these things. His ultimate point is that,
Mhm.
I think it, to a certain degree, it's a point of view, and it's a mindset. It's like, how do you want to approach the world?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? It doesn't have to be purely clinical.
Right.
You can still enjoy the aesthetic, superficial level of creative pursuits, psychedelics, whatever you used to enjoy, in the same way, or you can choose to look deeper. And maybe part of the problem is you're having trouble turning off the analytical part of your brain,
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy the superficial parts.
Mhm.
And maybe that's just practice. The only thing I can really say is, from my experience, I only really experienced an increase in my ability to enjoy those creative pursuits, the ability to appreciate things that I enjoy has only gotten better with understanding them more.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
I
Mhm.
extract joy from a greater understanding of the things that I like.
Yeah. It's like the will to knowledge that, like, I'm typical white guy, but Nietzsche says, the will to power. Like, it's, and then even like when MD said, like, doing things like purposely that have no value other than enjoyment. Like, I suffer from the same problem, Gnorp. I'm overly, I work for me is joy, but then I realize I'm overworking myself. I turn everything into work. So in our household, we
Mhm.
make it we purpose that we do things for the sake of doing them that have no value, that actually cost money, that, no, things like that. And
Mhm.
I'm able to, like, because it's like it's, again, it's a reference Nietzsche. It's like he talks about art and music as a thing in itself. It's a pursuit for itself. You're doing art for art's sake. And I think the problem that we deal with, especially being here stateside, is that everything we deal with commodity fetishism. Everything has a fucking value attached to it.
Mhm.
So, especially, you said you do coding. I'm a welding inspector right now. While I'm finishing up all my
Mhm.
other academic studies, CWI. I do metallurgical
Yeah.
testing to the chemical analysis.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in a metal manufacturing plant as well.
Yeah. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm the guy that walks around and ruins everybody's day. So, but what's great about it is that I can shoot a PMI machine on what I don't know what type of metal it is, and as long as I know it's calibrated, I can figure out the chemical composition and see what's wrong, if the mill screwed us over. It's really interesting, and I know it, and I sound smart, even though I'm just repeating shit from a textbook. But it's super interesting, and I get more in depth into it. But then also, I really like doing shit like playing in punk rock bands. One of my bands gets paid all right. The other
Yeah.
ones, not really, but it's fun and it's for itself, and it takes away my time, and I'm doing it for it. So maybe like you can look into things like exposure, like exposing yourself to shit that involves no analytics, right? Like doing something that just seems
Mhm.
stupid and silly and doesn't involve anything outside of just fun. Like, go get massages or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's something like that is purely for you, that doesn't involve work, that doesn't involve, because men are, especially if you're working in the industry that we are conditioned to see our value as our production and value. And if I'm not producing, and if I'm wasting, and we lose the ability just to enjoy. And I think that's conditioned out of us. I think like what Emmanuel was talking about and what you're talking about are very synonymous, that we're told we need to have this like myth of mystery being valuable, but once you figure things out, it's ruined. You've just been
Mhm.
told that. I mean, I don't know. I agree with MD. The more knowledge I get, the happier I feel, because it's less stupid shit in here and more cool shit in here. So I don't know how you feel about that, man.
Yeah. I feel you. I don't
Not
know. I guess I have
Not
to keep
convinced.
thinking about it some more.
Try
No,
to do.
maybe I'm just like greedy and jealous of I want to be able to be everybody. And I am, you grow and you change. And I really do I still value playing like music, jazz music and stuff, and all
There
these
you go,
kinds
man.
of things. But it's not, I guess I sometimes want it to be this, it feels like it was just coming out of nowhere before. And like, it would just be like some magical force that was like driving me to do stuff. And now it's more like, oh, I kind of know why it's doing stuff, which is awesome and very exciting and great. And I can be more effective in many ways. But I just kind of wish I could do both. And I don't know if it works that way, I guess.
I think, Gnorp, if you're missing the mystery in the world, you just need to look deeper, because it's mysteries all the way down, man. You'll, if you keep learning and you keep searching, all you're going to find are more mysteries.
Yeah, man. I was going to say education. Like, I hit an existential dread kind of spot in my life a little while back. I just dove into education and information, and my mind was just constantly, especially neuroscience. And I was going to say, why not? How much philosophy have you dive into? I mean, it's there's just a wellspring.
Really getting into that.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, study things that challenge your mind and challenge your own like internal a way of belief in your own internal schema. There's a cognitive processing therapy is really interesting because it's skepticism aimed inwards, and you are challenging more or less the metaphysical world that you've built for yourself and the narrative you tell yourself, and you're like purposely rewiring pathways in your brain. I mean, why not just like treat your mind as a project at this point? Because I'm sure there's a lot of shit you don't know, man, and I'm sure there's a lot of shit you don't know how to do.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Well, Gnorp, thanks for the call. I hope that, I mean, we're not going to solve all of your problems, but I hope this at least helped. We really appreciate the call, and I think that was a nice way to, like palate cleansing way to wrap up the show.